So this video's been a bit of a long time coming, and I figured, you know what? Let's rant about this, cause now I gotta talk about it. And to be honest though, I'm actually kind of sick about this topic happening. What is this brought upon, you may ask? Pokemon Sword and Shield. No, not that. I'm done talking about that junk. Too much of a garbage fire.
And this topic isn't?
Okay, that's a good point, but regardless, I feel that this is a necessary topic and something that I really need to get talking about because I'm tired of seeing it happen. So we can pretty much agree that Twitter's become a cesspool, right? I mean, every website is a cesspool. I mean, YouTube's no exception to that. Now, frankly, I'm not looking to play moral police, and frankly, I find the job to be, well, one of the worst that you can have, especially when sometimes it can make you look like a scumbag. So let's talk about Nessa. I think I've already talked about her, that I like the character, and many others do as well. I mean, the loads of fan art that came out is just amazing. But of course, you've got those people. The people who act like the moral police and acting like they know how they can fix a design. One such example is this. Now, the artist who did this claims that Nessa is now no longer hypersexualized and her back makes sense. Oh no, a design of a character has sex appeal. Why does that need to be fixed? Seriously, can female characters no longer be sexy or appealing anymore? I mean, the same thing has happened before. Take a look at Xenoblade Chronicles for an example of that, especially with Pyrrha and how some people actually resized her breasts. But getting back to Nessa, since we take in consideration that her design has a swing motif to it, essentially when you consider that she's the water-type gym leader, and that Pokemon has done this before with such other people like Misty and Marlin, it is an impossibility that her outfit is actually playing to that, especially when it's supposed to be more sporty. Though the fact that her gym has obvious water motifs to it, and I don't know, it just makes sense to me. Plus, no one seemed to care when other gym leaders were made to be sexualized. Have you seen Marlin? And while I don't personally agree with the change to her back, because one, it's a stylistic choice to draw the character design that way, and two, I don't fully agree with the change, or I think it's not possible, especially when it's a stylistic pose. Now, while I don't agree with this, that doesn't mean that I don't think the artist doesn't have a right to change the art. What I do take issue with is people claiming that the design is fixed, and that they did a better job than the actual designer. Oh, and claiming that the people behind the original design are, and I quote, back on their horny bullshit again. Cause this isn't the first time we've seen this. No. Remember a few months back when we got the design for the new Persona 5 character, Kasumi? Well, another artist added a skirt to Kasumi's thief costume. All well and good. However, when you decide to spout your ideology and then refuse to talk to people about it, that's just asking for trouble in that regard. Not only does that ignore the context of, you know, Kasumi being a gymnast and that the outfit is taking elements from a leotard, but it also ignores the fact that outfits are based on what the character believes to be a rebellious force to be. And I think the perfect way to sum this up is what my girlfriend once said. I admit it's a good looking design, but I wouldn't say it's fixed. As a woman and an artist, I say you can draw the human body and not have it be sexualized. The original design is perfect, followed her gymnast background. What, are women no longer allowed to wear leotards? Follow Anime Christie, she's a pretty good artist. So it begs the question, who are you to say that the design is flawed? Art is probably one of the most subjective things you can critique, and it isn't something that can be easily determined to be right or wrong. I think one of the issues I take is that we can't even have a discussion about this. As in the case of Kasumi here, we can't even have the discussion about art and choices simply because the character is 15, and because the artist doesn't want to have a discussion about it because they proceed to feel like they have a moral grandstand. I'm sure there's going to be some people saying, what's there to be discussed? And to that I'd say, thanks man, thanks for proving my point. People are way too sensitive nowadays. Sure, feel free to block people who are intentionally insulting you, and aren't actually trying to make an argument. But art is a fluid subject, and personal interpretation is a major aspect, and you shouldn't just disregard other people's thoughts and opinions, especially when you come off as so morally grandstanding. In addition, I find the whole fixing other people's art to be really disrespectful in some regards, especially when it's delivered like this. It gives off a whole egotism feel, with, I'm better than you, this is how it should be done! Again, you can disagree with how an artist draws something or criticize them, but you shouldn't dogpile them. And that leads me to the reason why I felt the need to actually make this video. So, there were two artists, and they both drew Nessa. One is known as Merryweather, and the other, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher this, Najuko. Again, if I get this name wrong, remember you're listening to the guy who somehow mispronounced Kakiyoan in his video talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You know what you were getting yourself into when you clicked this video! So both of them post a picture on their Twitter showing Nessa. And you may be wondering, what the hell is wrong with these pictures? It's because it's a lighter palette for their skin. It's because they used a lighter palette for her skin. And apparently, this is whitewashing, and these two artists aren't good for it.
This artist can draw however they'd like, and I think that's great. But acting like they have a grasp of color and value, and that this is an accurate portrayal of her skin tone, is just not correct. Her skin is lighter here.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Thank you for telling me that this artist is not good because of that. I didn't realize there were rules to drawing and coloring a character for fan art, that you have to draw them exactly the same, and they must be 100% correct to the original source material. It's not like creative liberties are a thing, and it's not like the artists themselves do experiments and messes with the skin tones all the time. I mean, last I checked, Nessa's hair doesn't have red in it, but there it is. Surprised that didn't show up on your radar. Like, you're more than welcome to criticize the piece all you want. That's perfectly fine. But don't act like there are rules and guidelines for what people can and can't do with their art. You don't even have to like it. But seeing people going after the artist for something that is practically a non-issue is honestly disgusting. Like, what is one piece of fan art going to do? It's not even official art. If it was, you'd have a point that this would be a bigger issue. But it isn't. Going back to fixing the art, while this person does have a right to fix the art, I use that in quotes, for criticism, even though I personally think she did a terrible job and didn't actually match the actual skin tone, you throw out any actual credibility you have when you respond to an artist with, "I'm not profiting except putting in your place." First, English! Learn it! Secondly, putting in your place.
That's the most selfish, egotistical thing I've ever heard.
Thank you.
Newsflash to these critics. Not everyone has to follow the same way of coloring, especially when you take into account pastel and color theory. Most of these people don't actually seem to know that. And you know what the funniest thing about this is? Because these people decided to make this into a bigger deal, you've got people who are actually doing this to Nessa now, just to troll them! I honestly find it amazing that these people are doing it just to piss people off. I actually remember this happening a while ago with Marina from Splatoon, and there's actually a good video by Miss ZZ who talks about this. I'll link in the description, but it's a short video like this one, so give it a watch. And I'm going to say something that I found really interesting from that video, but add a little bit to it. Edit art all you want. Criticize art all you want. If your intention is actually to help the artist, that's perfectly fine. But if your goal is to, belittle the artist, using it to grandstand your moral superiority, or in some cases, shame the artist for doing something like this, congratulations! I now think you're a moron. Besides, it comes off as if you don't know what actual whitewashing is, especially when there's this right here. Even though this possibly is just a troll just to trigger people again. So, what do you guys think? I want to talk about this since I find this a bit of an issue and a trend I keep seeing, especially on Twitter and previously on Tumblr. I would love to hear what you guys have to think about this, and tell me what you think of this new series, Artist Rants. I'm MangaKamen, and remember to examine your fandom. Thanks for watching.